Hey everybody, Nicholas here, and I'm excited to bring you a new episode of the Hound on the Run podcast, available in your favorite podcast app, as well as on YouTube and Rumble. This week, we're featuring a very special guest who you may be familiar with if you watched our latest video where we took my wife rabbit hunting with Beagles for the first time. Definitely check that out if you haven't seen it. At first, we were going to have our guest call in over Skype, but that was just way too complicated and low quality, so we decided to have her over to be our very first in-studio guest. We had a great conversation and learned all about her history as a dedicated beagler, as well as getting into some current events and reacting to some ridiculous videos. I would hate for you to miss this one. I wanted to give a quick heads up that we had to improvise a little bit to get Taylor on the episode as well, so you might notice a slight echo coming from her mic. But please forgive us. I think you'll find this episode is well worth it. If you haven't yet, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform. Without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so we're gonna do the intro first. I'm gonna do a little monologue like Tucker Carlson, and then we'll be rolling. So here's the intro. All right, so I am joined by the one and only Missy Fix. Right, is that your real last name?
Fix, yeah.
That's and it's pronounced Fix, not Feet?
Nope, Fix.
Okay. So if you haven't seen our latest video on YouTube, check it out because it features
Angus.
It features Mr. Angus, the adorable little beagle puppy, and yeah, we actually got to go out on a Saturday morning hunt with Missy here and her little 6-pack of beagles. Well, I guess you only had 3.
Yeah.
So you had 3 that day. And our good friend Charlie joined us. So if you haven't seen that video yet, go check it out. It was a really fun day. We got to see some rabbits run across the road, and we got to see some bald eagles soaring.
There's 6 of them.
Yeah, 6 bald eagles. That was pretty epic. So yeah, I wanted to have Missy on the podcast so we could kind of talk about how that hunt went and also find out a little bit more about your life.
Oh, okay.
Beagling.
Yeah, beagling.
Beagling.
Is that what it's called? Beagling?
Beagling.
Okay.
I just said that. I did not know.
Nice.
So, yeah, winning point for you. Yeah, we need a leaderboard
Right.
somewhere.
So yeah, we're gonna get into some news stories as well, and we got some interesting videos to react to. So stay tuned for all of that. But yeah, so just fade this music out. So you're our first official guest on the podcast.
I feel honored.
Well, on the reboot, because 2 years ago, I don't know if you listened to any of those episodes.
No.
Okay, yeah. So 2 years ago, when I first started Hound on the Run, I first started the newsletter, and then I started the podcast, and it kind of got too much to juggle, and so the podcast kind of went away. But back then, I was doing actual just interviews. You know what I mean? But this time around, I kind of felt like there's so many podcasts that are doing that these days. Like all the Hound podcasts, they're just interviewing people, which is great. But we're in kind of such a small niche that everyone's been on every podcast so far.
Right.
So
right.
You know what I mean. Weren't you were you on the when Seth came up here? Were you on their podcast?
No, he was supposed to get a hold of me, but I didn't. I think he just got busy, and
I'm gonna have to give him a call and speak my mind.
He interviewed David though.
Yeah,
he got a nice interview.
That was a really good interview.
Yeah.
Them sitting in the Ford Ranger on the side of the road. That was a pretty epic day.
That was a great day.
How many rabbits were caught that day?
They got 2.
2. And the dogs caught them.
The dogs caught one, and then David had shot the other one.
Right. Okay. I thought they caught a cottontail. And then did he shoot the brush bunny?
Yeah, he shot the brush bunny.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
And
Maybe I have some good pictures of that. Maybe I can splice them in here. But yeah, so I guess let's kind of get into your background a little bit. So I know you've been into Beagles for a while, but I know I'm a little blurry on some of the other details of your dog history. I know there was some dachshunds involved. Yep. I know there was at least one Saint Bernard involved.
Yep.
So tell me a little bit about how you got into all this hound stuff.
I grew up on a small ranch out in outside of Bend.
Really?
When I was a kid.
Okay.
And my mom was a big animal lover, and my dad was a horse lover.
Oh, okay.
And so we had a variety of everything. And always had a dog. Started off with a standard dachshund who he thought he was the stud muffin of the area.
Okay.
And would end up getting beat up by German shepherds and that.
Ooh.
And so, But
what was his name?
Max.
Max. Nice.
He was quite the... Yeah. Anyway, so ended up with later down the road when I was about, I guess, 13, ended up with a Saint Bernard.
Okay.
My mom loves saints, and so we ended up getting one. And he actually got stolen with 5 other saints.
You told us about that on Saturday.
Yeah.
Pretty tragic ending.
It was. I mean,
terrible.
Just not fair.
No.
But after that, I went to school, and I was lonely. I got a black lab, which was, boy. I mean, I know there's a lot of lab lovers out there, and they're great dogs, but they've got a skull about as thick as a brick. For learning.
Really?
Yeah.
I had a lab growing up, and I mean, we didn't do anything with it, but I'm surprised to hear that they got a thick skull because they do all the gun dog. I mean, they're gun dogs, right? So they have to have like a.
And I think if you put them into that situation, maybe they're quick learners.
Oh, okay.
But Luke didn't seem to have that ability to be a quick learner.
Some dogs are like that. So, you got one sitting behind you that's kind of like that.
It's all right. Good dog. But I ended up in the service, joined the military, and as a animal care specialist.
Okay.
Hoping to get into the Canine Corps.
Yeah.
But no, my scores were high enough that they threw me into biomedical research.
You're too smart.
Didn't want to be there. But our test subjects were Beagles and Foxhounds.
Oh.
So worked in that.
Yeah.
And did as much as I could do to make their life better than it was.
Gotcha.
But I think that's how it all kind of evolved. Ended up when I got out of the military, I got miniature dachshunds, started kind of having those little fellas.
You're drawn to the small end of the dog spectrum.
Small end of the spectrum. And they were great, chipmunk squirrel hunters, take them up into the Cascades. And
that sounds super fun.
They were a hoot.
Hilarious.
And I had a bad experience deer hunting.
Oh.
Which didn't really leave me with wanting to get back out in the woods again.
Now, deer hunting, you were out deer hunting?
Yes.
With your dachshunds?
No, just me.
Okay.
No. And, anyway, bad experience there with another hunter. And so when I came back in and went into work, I was telling the people there what had happened. And I said, I'm done. That's it. And so this guy that I worked with, he said, have you ever rabbit hunted? I said, well, when I was a ranch hand down in Fort Rock, yes.
Okay.
I would, Friday night, nothing to do at Fort Rock. So you jump on top of somebody's pickup, you go out through the fields and you shoot the
just plunking them with 22s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was great. A lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely.
But he said, no, it's different. He said, so you need to find out who has dogs and blah, blah, blah. So I did. Found out Jerry Ray, who was one of the big ones. He still hunts some, not a whole bunch
and
anymore.
He's here in Oregon.
Yeah, he's in Corvallis.
Okay.
Called him up, we set up a date and went out. And I was maybe in the field 15, 20 minutes. And I just looked at him and I said, I've got to get one of these dogs. And so, I've got a pregnant female.
Sorry, I got it. Jazz hands. The jazz hands is to get my camera to focus on me.
I
Sorry.
see. Okay.
Okay, so sorry, you got a female.
So I ended up getting a pup from him. And that dog would hunt only with himself. He would not hunt with other dogs.
Interesting.
If they were not part of his pack, he wanted nothing to do with them.
Okay.
And so I ended up getting 2 more so that he would have his own pack.
Of course, they need friends.
Exactly. that potato chip thing.
Yeah, they're like potato chips.
So, so it started there, and it has just grown.
How long ago was that? When did you get your first one?
23 years ago.
No kidding. Dang. Okay. I didn't realize you were doing it that long. That's amazing. Wow. Yeah. How many Beagles have you owned from then till now?
Oh gosh.
Is there too many to count?
No.
Well, I will say you are not. So there's different kind of dog people. I've found there's the people who they will cycle through dogs. They will buy a dog. If it doesn't suit them perfectly, they'll move it on. They'll sell it, and they just keep cycling through dogs. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't get that feeling from you.
No. Once I have a dog,
it's yours.
It stays with me.
That's how we kind of end up rolling too, because
so committed to them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I formed such a special bond with these critters that I can't imagine, which I feel like holds me back from being a successful bobcat hunter. It really does. Like my mentor, that's the main thing he is trying to get through to me. He's like, dude, you have the wrong dogs for what you're trying to do. And I'm just like, okay, that's fine.
But you're having fun. You're enjoying what you're doing.
I'm like, I appreciate what you're saying. I know you're right, but this is just my life now. I can't.
But do you have the wrong dogs, or they're just young and still learning?
It's okay. Rue is like
he's a cat
right
dog.
kind of. He's like 100% bobcat dog. You know what I mean? That his last 6 generations, 7 are straight bobcat dogs. Mm-hmm. Whereas like Cooley is.
She's kind of versatile.
Yeah, she probably comes honestly more from like bear hunting, kind of style of dogs, that kind of thing. So, but yeah, so you're ride or die with your dogs.
Yep, exactly. I mean, I had my last dachshund was the epitome of what people think of little yappy dogs.
Oh yeah.
Plus, she had ADHD.
Oh goodness. I didn't know dogs could have that.
Oh my God. I mean, it was just, she would drive me nuts.
Uh-huh.
But I loved her. And, I thought, I'm glad I ended up with her. She was not my pick, but I'm glad I ended up with her. Mm-hmm. Because if I hadn't taken her, she would have been just moved on and moved on and moved on. Because it was really hard to, put up with ADHD in a dog.
Sure. Oh yeah. That's funny. So, you know what? I think Plum might have ADHD or something like that. He kind of he has this real bad, he's better than he used to be, but he has this bad habit of just like spinning around. He'll just pace in circles over and all day long. Oh, yeah. But once we let him be a house dog, he has really chilled out, and he's fine to just lay on the couch. Unless there's muffins on the counter, is what just happened. Normally he's on the couch here, but yeah. So okay, sorry. How many? What's your body count on Hound on Beagle dogs?
About. Okay, we'll count them up.
Let's count them up.
Okay, so Shiloh, Laddie, Sarah, Emma, K8, Bear, Ellie, Tess, Bubbles.
I cannot laugh.
Bubbles!
And,
I love it.
Reba, Willow. Go ahead, Missy. You can do.
Are you counting? No. I'm not counting. I lost count.
Well, hopefully someone else is counting.
Oh, we'll have to do a little ding, 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 ding,
and
ding,
Angus,
ding, ding, ding.
There's close to. I'm gonna say 15.
Okay.
We'll just
call
it.
It's a good number. So, and has there been because you got Angus now, do you normally get one puppy at a time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
just one at a time. It was
You
different.
don't like training 3 puppies at the same time like I do?
I train. Now, Willow and Reba are sisters.
Okay.
And I had just lost 2 about a year earlier. So I was down to 2 dogs. And I told David that I wanted a puppy.
Yeah.
And we were talking about what he was going to breed and stuff.
Okay.
And then I said, I want 2.
Mm-hmm.
So then it ended up with, I telling him, my favorite thing about a pregnant dog is to have them sitting on the couch with me and to put my hand on their tummy once the babies have started to move.
Oh.
And I said, there's nothing that will relax me more. He said, well, she can come and have the babies at your place.
Oh, I'm sure he's like, please, take my beagle.
So
Please, take her.
So here we've got, a kennel dog now being introduced to home life. And I also do canine equine massage work.
Oh.
So
don't tell Finn that. Yeah, Finn ears just perked up. He's like, hey, I'm a little sore, Mama. I'm sore.
Yeah, so to help Rainey in the living conditions and her environment for the next few weeks, I started doing massage work with her. She got to where she demanded it.
Oh, yeah?
But she only had 3 puppies, so I got 2 and David got 1.
Cool.
But usually I only take 1. No, normally they have usually about a minimum of 5 or 6, but
Okay.
then it ranges,
Sure.
on up.
How do they? Do you have any idea what determines how many puppies they'll have?
I think a lot of it, I don't know. It seems like the more a dog is bred, the bigger the litters will get.
Okay, because I know a guy. I don't know him. I heard about he had a litter he had 14 puppies.
Yeah.
And he's like, normally I just keep them all because, he's really close with his line. He doesn't want to getting out. But he's like, I need somewhere to move these things. Who wants them,
Yeah, that's a lot.
a ton of puppies.
That's a lot.
Even hold that?
Yeah.
Ugh, amazing.
Yeah. Okay, so you've had 15 around dogs, and you've been hunting them for 23 years.
Mm-hmm.
Has all that happened in Oregon?
Yep.
Okay. You've
Right.
lived in the same area
Yep,
the whole time?
I've lived in the place that I'm in now. I've been in for 33 years.
Wow, awesome. That's so cool.
So
Nice. And so you, like when we went out hunting, I normally don't like talking about specific hunting spots on the internet.
Yeah.
So we went to the same place where we went with Seth.
right.
When he was in town, which is a really cool little spot. But you also will go up into the mountains too, right?
Yep.
So I haven't gone up into the mountains with you guys. How is that different than like the sort of valley style?
The valley style, okay, you've got the cottontail will run for them a big circle. I think the biggest one I've seen is one that covered about 4 blocks.
Okay.
And that was during mating season.
Mhm.
So it was a male. He was running
That's
big
a pretty
circles.
big runner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But normally they just do maybe a block, a couple blocks, something like that. You get up into the hills and they're running a mile.
Really?
The
Wow.
snowshoe hare just will go. And it's kind of like with the jackrabbits in the tree farms around here.
Yeah, yeah.
They have also big runs,
Okay.
and you often end up going off property.
Do you ever hunt on the tree farms like that?
We used to.
Okay. I was going to say that sounds like that would be tricky just cuz you're kind of confined.
No, not really.
I guess on a big enough tree farm, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what you have to be careful of is they don't want their trees damaged.
Right.
So you have to be careful, but they want the rabbits removed.
Well, because I'm sure the rabbits damage the trees.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah,
They
they
just eat
girdle
'em
them
down to
and
nubbins,
yeah,
right?
they just girdle them and
Yeah.
kill the trees.
Oh, girdle and like eat the bark off.
Yep.
Gotcha. And that kills the tree. I mean, pretty much. That's a
Yeah, once
death
you
sentence.
remove the cambium.
Right.
That's
That's
the end of
what
it.
bears do too.
Yeah.
That's why I know, like, they hunt. I don't know how much this happens. I'm sure it still happens, but they have, they will hunt bears off of like, timber company land
Right.
because they'll go and kill all the trees basically. They're getting the sugary. It's like a sugary layer.
Yeah, the down in the cambium.
Cambium.
It's
Okay.
really sweet.
Mm.
Really
I'll have
sweet.
to try that sometime.
You can make tea out of it.
Really?
Yeah.
You just kind of scrape it off or something.
Yeah.
I can't even picture what it looks like because
It's just like a.
it's like a thin film, right?
Yeah, it's you have the bark
Mm-hmm.
and then the cambium underneath that.
Hmm.
And it's just kind of a white or usually a really light color.
Okay.
Is it like how the tree transports sugars?
Mhm.
Awesome.
Gotcha. You're so smart.
Look at me.
Look at you.
Look at me. Another check. Give me another one. Love it.
Awesome. So, the hunting in the valley, hunting in the mountains for hares.
And the neat thing about hunting in the mountain, what really got me, the first time I went up, John Simonson took me up into the hills. And I wasn't too sure what to expect. I don't even think I did. I took my dogs, but I didn't really know what we were doing. But what got me was listening to all those voices ricocheting off the rim rocks.
Oh, right.
Huh. I'd never heard anything like that. That was the most, to me, that's the epitome.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. That's like
There's nothing like that.
Yep. It's like a symphony.
It really is.
You know?
It really is.
Yep.
Unless you've got a Reba. It's not a symphony.
It's funny. So I was bobcat hunting up in one of my favorite areas, and it was my first time going up there. My mentor and his partner, they were within radio range. They were a couple miles away from where I was. And I come around. We were working on a track, and I came around the corner, and all of a sudden I heard like higher, like that amazing sound in this big valley, like big bowl kind of thing. And I'm like, that doesn't sound like my mentor's dogs. What is going on? And my dogs were on the road. I'm like, it's not them. Like, what the heck is going on? And it was, the Beagles sound a lot different than the big hounds.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some of the more foxhound type dogs, they have a higher pitched, like kind of squealy squawk, kind of really, I don't know. It's a little shrill sometimes. But the Beagles are kind of like that, like what I've heard anyway. And I was like, what is going on? And then I come around the corner, and there are these two old timers. One had, I can't remember his name, but I think he actually recently passed away. Just standing in the middle of the road with this big, huge smiles on their faces. I'm like, hey guys, what is going on over here? And then all of a sudden, their whole pack just came crashing across the road, and they're like, oh, you just missed the rabbit. Yeah, it was funny though. That was the first time I ever heard beagles out in the woods like that. It's very
amazing.
memorable. Yeah.
Yeah, if you have the want and the drive to be doing the hunting with the dogs, once you hear that,
oh yeah,
that's the end of it. I mean, you're just hooked for life.
Yeah. The first bobcat hunt I got to go on, I mean, it probably, the sound that we're talking about, that probably is one of the main things that just like, I couldn't stop thinking about it, you know?
Yeah.
And like, I have a music background, like, I got a guitar sitting behind me. So, and I played in like wind ensembles and orchestras and stuff. And that's like my favorite part was you go into a new, music venue, new auditorium or whatever, a concert hall. And you're like, it's all that reverb is such a big part of it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I get to do music with my dogs in the mountains. It's so cool.
Yep.
Yeah. And it's one of those things like you hear it on a YouTube video and it doesn't translate.
No.
It doesn't translate at all,
No, you miss it.
Yeah.
And the one thing I found with the dogs, once you had them up in the mountains, you bring them back down into the valley, they don't want to hunt.
Oh, really?
Because they've experienced that freedom.
Oh yeah,
of just running between the trees, and there's no briars, and they come down and they look at you like, you want me to get into that?
That's a great point, and I know I think we talked about this years ago when I had my cousin Josh. He's the blind. He came out with us that one day.
Yep.
we were trying to explain the whole blackberry bush situation. And he's like, I don't know what you mean. So one day we were coon hunting. I just walked him into one of the bushes.
Oh, jeez.
Not the nicest thing to do, but
Here's
I'm like,
this experience.
yeah. I'm like, Josh, you see what I'm talking about now? He's like, how could you ever get through that? How do the dogs get through that? So, I'm sure that there's people listening from all over the country, all over the world even. There's a lot of briars, like in the East.
Yeah.
Briars is a thing. But in my opinion, blackberries are worse.
They're wicked.
Than briars. Because briars have smaller thorns. They have thorns, but they're smaller. They're like a rope, like a thinner, ropier kind of vine kind of thing. Whereas these blackberries, like sometimes you'll get a stalk that's like,
Oh, yeah.
monster, like a tree trunk almost. I don't know why I just like talking about how nasty the blackberries are.
Oh, they're wicked.
Yeah,
I was so glad when I got a retriever. When I had a retriever, because then I could get the rabbit if it happened to bounce off and head into the briar.
Explain what you mean by retriever, because a lot of people hear that and think, oh, she had a Labrador.
Okay, a beagle retriever. And a beagle retriever, or a beagle that retrieves, will go into the briar after you've shot the rabbit. And when it locates the rabbit, it'll bring it out to you.
Carry it out.
And
that's
it's
an incredible
not something
thing.
that you practice. The first one that I had that was a retriever was Laddie. And I had him out one day. I'd lost my cell phone. Didn't know it. Thought it fell out of my pocket. And so I'm calling the dogs in. They're coming into me. But Laddie isn't showing up. So I'm hollering and hollering. He finally shows up. He's got something in his mouth. And he was about 6 months old.
Really?
And he comes up and he's got my cell phone. And
No
I'm like,
way.
you are such a good dog.
Oh my gosh.
This
That's
dog
incredible.
is a keeper. He's the best. And he proved to be beyond the best. He was a wonderful dog.
Did you breed to him at all?
Couple times, yeah.
Really? Okay, cool. Has he produced more retrievers?
I don't know.
Oh.
The puppies, the females belong to someone else.
Oh, gotcha.
So I have no idea where the puppies ended up.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That is pretty cool.
It was.
I bet you could, I don't know how much does a beagle how much does a beagle go? I mean, puppies are probably puppy price, like with anything, but like what, so like a finished bobcat dog, people will ask anywhere from $5,000, $10,000
To 20,000. Yeah,
yeah,
I've heard
and
that.
up. What
I've
about
heard
a
that.
beagle?
Beagles are, when I was buying beagles, usually the average cost was about $350.
$350.
Yeah.
For a finished dog?
No, for a puppy.
For a puppy, right? Okay.
A finished dog, I have no idea. I've never known anybody that sells finished dogs. Because if
Okay.
you've got a good dog, you're going to keep it.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Yep.
If it doesn't fit your lifestyle. Bubbles, prime example. David got her when she was a pup, but I made the agreement with him that if she did not prove to be the hunting style that he lives for,
Yeah.
that she would come home.
Cool.
So he gave her a year, and she just doesn't have it. He likes a good, fast dog that works to the front, and that's not Bubbles.
Gotcha.
Bubbles is out there to enjoy herself.
Nice.
She doesn't worry about keeping up with everybody.
For sure.
So
I
she
love
came
that.
home and,
Yeah.
So I don't know anybody that sells
Okay. Interesting.
dogs.
I'm sure I know so out here in Oregon, is there a lot of beagle trialing that happens out here?
No.
Okay, I know it's a huge thing out in the East.
Oh, in the East Coast, you could go through 4 or 5 field trials in a weekend.
Right.
I mean, it's no wonder that these people, champion and grand champion out so fast.
Okay, yeah.
Because they do, but most of that I think is AKC. We were out here, we were UKC.
I see. Okay.
So 2 different entities.
Gotcha.
And trialing styles.
Okay.
And how they judged.
Right.
Completely different. But
don't they do it off a horseback?
you don't have any idea.
Oh, okay. I've seen pictures. I've seen videos of them following beagles on a horse. That seems like fun.
Really?
That would be.
Yeah.
That would be. I think that there are some in the eastern area that do the horseback thing.
Gotcha. Would you ever, if you had, if there was Okay, next weekend there's a field trial. Would you ever take your dog to a trial like that?
To one with horses?
Or
Or
no,
just
like
a regular
Beagle
field?
trial, yeah.
No,
No,
not anymore.
not into it.
No, we had Mary's Peak Hound Club here,
Oh yeah, right.
and
Is
right,
that still going on? It's kind of fizzled out.
it lives, but it doesn't do anything.
Makes sense.
You know, I don't know. A couple years before COVID, it started to filter out, and David finally came up with why it went out. We missed a generation of hunters,
Oh,
and I don't know why a generation got lost.
interesting.
But because of that, there were no up and coming
I see.
hunters that were, this was a real drive for them.
Right.
The kids, and I think a lot of it had to do with technology.
Okay. Yeah.
Kids would rather do the, play
It's
on.
tragic.
Yeah. And so we missed that generation.
Yeah. I like to say that I'm an anti-video gamer. You know, there's like anti-gun people.
Yeah.
At this point, I'm pretty much anti-gamer because I just feel like it is, there's tons of people make so many arguments about how it can help kids develop and, helps their brain and all this. I'm like, I call BS on most of that. You know what I mean? I just feel like it incentivizes people to stay inside, sit on the couch with terrible posture, eating junk food, and it tricks your brain into thinking like you've accomplished something when you haven't accomplished anything.
And it's a type of addiction.
It really is. Yeah.
You see these kids that just pitch a fit
Yep.
because dad has said, put the game down.
Yep.
And it's like you have taken their drug away from them.
I've known people who basically flunked out of college because they didn't go to any classes because they were playing video games the whole time.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Isn't that crazy?
When I was in the service, we had a doctor he was a heart surgeon, and he was doing research on a new drug, which down the road ended up saving my stepmom's life. Wow. So, and I felt like I was on the ground floor of that. So it was kind of neat.
Cool.
But this guy could not wait to get done with his procedure for that week, so he could go play Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh my gosh.
He was addicted to it, and
it's like such a fantasy world too. People can just get so into that kind of stuff.
yeah. And I often wondered how much of his procedures that failed, how many of the times that they failed.
Because his brain was just like...
Because he was
everywhere
off
else.
thinking about what he was going to be and what he was going to do and how he was going to do it, in this Dungeons and Dragons thing.
Wow. Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So kids, put the video games down, get yourself a hound, and get out in the woods.
Get out in the woods. Definitely.
Oh, man. Well, then you see kids who do... I mean, it still happens a lot. There's... Especially with like hound hunters, any people who like hunting is a big part of their family. Oftentimes I find that their kids are sharp. They will look you in the eye when they're talking to you. Confident. They're confident. Like, there's just so many. Yeah, when we have kids, it's going to be pretty much all outdoors all the time.
Great.
Yeah. The one I have thought it was okay. There are like there's type of video games that are like you build your own little world and stuff.
Oh yeah.
I did think it would be if there was a video game where it was like you build a pack of hounds and like you build up your hunting truck. I'd probably
there you go.
That could be interesting to me.
I'm sure there's some video games that are designed to actually get you thinking, and then there's some that are designed to stop you from thinking.
Yeah.
Yep.
Definitely. Interesting things.
Yeah.
So, what else? I wanted to get your perspective on how Saturday's hunt went, because for us, like, we were just along for the ride. I know I kind of understand what's going on. You know what I mean? They struck the rabbit. They're running it. They got it jumped. It's running across the road. From your perspective as the hound handler, how did it go?
It was mediocre.
Mediocre, really? Okay. Why is that? Subpar.
It really was, because it didn't have anything to do with the dogs.
Okay.
Dogs were doing great.
Okay.
It had to do with the weather that we're having.
Yes.
It's so dry. We have not had any rain in a month.
Mm-hmm.
And everything is just dried out. The scent doesn't stay on the ground.
Right.
You need that humidity to hold it.
Yep.
And so the dog's losing the rabbit.
Mm-hmm.
You should be able to sit for like an hour, have a couple 15-second, 20, 30-second losses,
Okay.
but pick the trail right back up again.
Just running that same rabbit. Wow. Gotcha.
And so what I saw, it's like, yeah, this is really good for today.
Oh, right. Considering the conditions.
I had gone out the previous week and didn't even get a yip.
Really?
So
Yeah.
yeah, it was mediocre, subpar,
Okay.
but
Interesting.
it was still good for this time of year.
Gotcha. So I think we saw the rabbit cross the road 2 times. How many rabbits did they actually run? Do you know?
4.
4. Oh, okay. I thought it was only 2.
No, because we saw 3
Mm-hmm.
on the one side,
Mm-hmm.
and then there was the one on the eastern side.
Gotcha. Right. And so we didn't have any shotguns with us or anything. We were just out running the dogs. Is that what you? How do you go about that? Do you usually have a shotgun with you, or what's the deal with that?
In the wintertime,
Uh-huh.
I'll usually carry a shotgun, not
Okay.
always,
Yeah.
but anymore it's gotten to where just sitting and listening to the hounds.
Yeah.
But when I first started, it was all about getting the rabbit,
Yeah.
and I used to fill my freezer.
Oh, okay.
It's great.
Wow. Nice.
But as I've gotten older and settled into it,
Yeah.
and especially once I was in the mountains,
Mm-hmm.
it's more about listening and learning because you're always learning what are they doing.
Yeah.
And with their voices, you can actually tell that.
Right. Do you think the dogs care? Like if a rabbit gets shot or not?
They just want to be out there.
Yeah, that's what I found too. With my dogs, like, it's like, yeah, they like chewing on a coon or whatever, chewing on a bobcat, but they hunt the same. It seems like to me, they hunt the same no matter what.
Yeah.
They're like, they want to run that track. They want to bark on the tree. And it's like, I haven't noticed a real big difference in how they act, like their enthusiasm levels for whether we're shooting the animal out or not.
Yep.
I find
they lose enthusiasm once you shoot too. Like they're
Yeah.
super excited, and then once, like Cooley doesn't care about a raccoon.
no, not really. No, she's like, oh, look at that. Okay,
Let's keep hunting. Let's
it's not
keep
moving
going.
anymore. Let's go find one that's moving.
Yeah, look, it doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
Now, if you need a retriever, the retrieving part of it, of killing the rabbit, that's great.
Sure.
But otherwise, no, they would just as soon keep running them.
Gotcha. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. My my hound mentor, like he catches usually 1 bobcat a day. Many times he'll catch 2, and
Wow.
sometimes he'll catch 3 in a day. But that's because he's not shooting them out. So, first of all, he's keeping the bobcat populations up, and by just not shooting them, and because you can't chase an animal that's dead, can you?
You can't.
Scientifically, I don't think.
But also, like the whole, like if you want to hike in and shoot a cat out of a tree and hike out with it, that's going to add quite a bit that's going to add a lot of extra work and a lot of extra time to the whole process.
Yeah.
So like one day we were out, and it's in my book, the one where the bobcat lunged at me and I had to shoot it in the face. He really was talking me out of shooting that one because I wanted to get my dogs. That was the first one where they got to really like
Right.
see a live cat in the tree, and I'm like, I need my dogs to know what we're out here doing. He kept trying to talk me out of it because he's like, you have no idea. This is such a pain in the ass. Can we just let's just go take a picture and let's go catch another one. And then we'll catch another one after that. And so I had to talk him into it. And I'm like, after that, I'm like, oh my God, I see what you're talking about. Like we had 10 dogs to tie back.
Oh, yeah.
So we need 10 leashes with us. And then I was carrying that thing out. I had to wrap it up in my jacket because these dogs were just tackling me.
Oh, sure.
Like I thought I was gonna die. Like, hiking down a steep hill, and all of a sudden you get 3 dogs just like just jumping on my back. It was gnarly. But yeah, so tree and free is the way in my book.
Yeah. And
But
a lot of times I would like to get a rabbit
yeah, definitely.
and take it, but our population has really decreased
Okay.
due to overhunting
Oh.
and also by disease.
Oh, really?
We have a disease here now that is just devastating.
Is it the same thing that Seth was talking about in New Mexico?
believe it is.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds pretty
And
nasty.
it came up here. And so over the last, I would say 7 or 8 years,
Okay.
the population has really gone down.
Wow.
We went
It's
through,
bad to hear.
there was a virus that came through that didn't affect the brush bunny,
Uh-huh.
but did affect the cottontail.
Really?
Just wiped them out.
Weird. You'd think, I wouldn't imagine them being that much different, but
There was something, and
Huh.
it didn't take them out. And when I first started, it wasn't uncommon for the beaglers to take out 2,500 rabbits in a season
okay.
off of
Quite a bit.
the refuge property.
Yeah, yeah.
Now it's maybe, I think here the other year it was 200. Last year I
Holy
think it
cow.
was 400.
That's a
huge difference.
That's a huge difference.
So
Now-
you become this, oh yeah, I'd like to, I can't shoot that rabbit.
Sure.
I
Yeah,
can't
that's your
shoot.
training
Yeah.
tool too, right?
Exactly.
But I know you're going to get you got to get Angus a rabbit.
He's got to get a rabbit.
He's got to get a
It's
rabbit.
supposed to rain Monday.
Nice.
So I think Tuesday, him and I are going to.
Okay, so let's talk about how do you go about. This one question I want to ask you. So, for me with my dogs, I spend a lot of time working on handling because I'm hunting out of my truck, so they have to be able to jump up on the dog box on command,
Sure.
jump down, load it in the dog box, get out in front of my truck when I want them to, even get behind the truck when I want them to. There's a lot of. And then when we're walking through the woods, I want them behind me. I don't want to, because I don't want to be tripping over them. So there's a lot of handling training that goes into
Right.
it. What's that like for beagles?
Completely different.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, you've seen mine.
Yeah.
I need roller skates.
Right.
Whee! Here we go. But with training the beagles, it's more about just exposure,
Okay.
just taking them out,
Yeah.
getting them out there. And that's why it's so important to have Angus out there now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you've seen him go into the briar. He doesn't
Oh,
go
yeah.
far when he comes back out. But I need to get him out there, just take a chair,
Mm-hmm. Just let him do
And-
his thing for a while.
a good book,
Mm-hmm.
and just let him go.
Yeah.
Let him, but I want him to have that scent before he does that.
So he knows what he's kind
Yep.
of looking for.
Yeah, so
Gotcha.
when his little brain gets that in the woods,
Yeah.
then he's like, oh, this is that cool, whatever that was, and I'm going to go get it. So,
Cool. And so there's really not much. I mean, you got to build. You want them to come when you call them, though.
yeah, stubborn.
Yeah.
You saw
Do you
that.
have-
Willow!
Do you tone train your dogs?
I try to.
Okay, gotcha.
They reach a point when if they're running a rabbit and they lose it because it went this way instead of that way, and you start calling them in or toning them,
Yeah.
they'll be like, no, it's still here.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Not coming in, not done.
Right.
So I feel bad when I have to call them in and I know that rabbit is still sitting there and
Yep.
they're not done yet.
Right. Gotcha.
They're not done with the run.
All right. Okay. So now we are going to go into the news. There's always interesting things happening related to animals. So that's been a big part of, kind of what I was saying before. Like, I kind of want to go away from just the straight up interview. Like, I might even just, like, at first I was like, oh yeah, we'll have people call in over Skype or Zoom. But as we've learned, that's a real pain in the butt.
That didn't work.
Yeah, what was happening was, like, I was so proud of you, first of all. You got it working perfectly on your computer. And then I go to get it. So, like, I'm recording with this program here. Once I started recording, my computer just kept crashing over and over and over. So I don't think my computer's powerful enough to run all that at the same time. So I don't know. In person is so. I mean, this is so much better.
This is a lot.
This
better.
is way better.
This is a lot better.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, so yeah, we're big goal of the podcast is to just kind of keep our finger on the pulse of what's happening in the hunting world, the wild, anything related to wildlife. It's really just anything that I'm curious about. So yeah, we're gonna talk about the news here. Apparently, I didn't know this, but June is National Pet Preparedness Month. Did you know that?
No, I had no idea.
Neither did I. But so I was reading through, some of these like special months are kind of hokey, but I actually thought that this was kind of a good topic for houndsmen to think about because, like, okay, a couple of years ago we had those terrible forest fires, and did our power go out at the same time, or maybe it was we had like a heat? Remember that heat wave?
Oh,
it was like
116 or something. Yeah,
like
Our air conditioning broke.
During that heat wave, our AC broke. We were living in hell. I mean, it was terrible. So, and I just was
did a lot of shopping, going to the stores.
I know, exactly.
Well, it was like, what do I do with my dogs?
Yeah.
I mean, there was no escaping it at that point. And so that got me, that was like, whoa, I was not really prepared for that at all. And then I saw this article and I felt like it was just an interesting topic to talk about. Do you have any, in terms of like, shit hits the fan, like, are you like a preparedness minded individual? Are you a prepper?
I'm not a prepper.
Me neither. I wish I was.
I'm secure enough with knowing what I need to get out.
Gotcha.
I mean, what the dogs need. It's
Sure.
more about what the dogs need than what I need.
Yeah, okay.
I can always get what I need, but they can't.
You're a good hound mama.
So it's always about the babies.
Right. Yep. So do you, like, I was thinking, like, for me, and I think a lot of hound hunters are probably further along in this kind of stuff than the average pet owner might be. Because like my dogs, they can live in the dog box if they need to. Like they can sleep in there. Like they're totally fine. Just to stay in the dog box. So, it's like, okay, if something does happen where we need to get out of here, like this actually, I realize I need to get my kind of stuff in order a little better to be prepared. So in case we do need to like flee,
you can just get up.
We can load everybody up and get going. I have my truck set up to where I pretty much have, like, it's like a bug out truck. I got chainsaws. I got like everything. I got water, but there's always something else that I'm like, oh, I'm missing that. Do you ever watch Born 100 Years Too Late on YouTube?
No.
Brett Vaughn.
No.
It's great. It's a good channel. He's down in New Mexico.
Okay.
He's the guy who rides around on a mule with all his dogs and stuff.
Gotcha.
Yeah. He recently did a video where because he was explaining how that's how he has his truck set up to where it's like if he needs to just get in and go, he's got everything he needs. So he did this really cool video where he like pulled out he did like a truck dump where he like went through all the gear that he has with him all the time.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. But so what they're saying in this this article, these are like the 5 things you should consider. And I don't know if I fully agree with all of them. So the first one is accepting a friendly stranger. Some pets are nervous or uncomfortable around people outside family or close friends, which can make things a bit difficult in an emergency. The concept of a friendly stranger can be very challenging to teach your pet, but it's a skill, blah, blah, blah. I was like,
I feel like that makes a houndman squirm.
It makes it makes me squirm a little bit. And I thought it was funny because when we were hunting on Saturday, we had those nice ladies coming with their dogs. And I could tell that you were kind of like,
I was not
a little nervous, not nervous, but just like,
I was definitely nervous.
I didn't like that their dogs weren't on leads.
Yes.
Right, because they weren't hunting.
No, and they had no control. I mean, the dogs were good, but in my mind, I'm saying
you have no idea.
If they see the Beagles, how are those big dogs going to react? Are they going to come play? Are they going to be able to, call him back or?
Yeah.
So yeah, I wasn't.
Yeah. I'm okay with my dogs not accepting a friendly stranger because there's, I don't want my dog just getting in someone else's car
Exactly.
or just getting lured in by a treat. You know what I mean?
David just recently had that. We were out hunting and he had some of his older dogs there. And I think we were pretty much done. The dogs were done. And so we were going to head in. And so he calls his dog. Mine came in. They were good girls.
Mm-hmm.
But he had one dog that didn't come in.
Oh.
And she was always good about coming in.
Yeah.
But as he called her, she was going the other way.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, maybe your voice is,
echoing
around and she's
Right.
not hearing it proper. And he says, this is just too weird. So we started walking.
Yeah.
And we're going to catch up to her. But as we walked and he's calling, she's moving further.
Mm.
That's not right.
Yeah.
So he went up this one side road, gets back in there, and he's hollering for the dog. Finally, this lady steps around, has her on a leash.
Oh, my God.
And said, oh, we're just walking her out. She just came up to us.
Come on.
And it's like that dog did not just come up to you. And you heard David. I mean, you had to have heard him hollering for her.
Right.
He's toning her. You didn't hear the tone?
You think it's just beeping for fun? I mean, what
No.
the hell?
And so
That's crazy.
I warn people that my dogs are not socialized.
They're not socialized.
I want them to walk around the person,
Yeah.
but not introduce themselves.
I like that. Yeah. I mean, that's
I don't want
super
that.
practical for what we're doing,
Yep.
So here's what I say about accepting a friendly stranger.
Wrong.
Yeah.
This one I felt was like pretty appropriate. Reliable recall. Learning to come when called. Recall to you is one of the most important skills your pet can acquire. So for me, if my dogs aren't coming to me, that's a real problem.
Oh, especially big dogs.
Yeah, exactly. So I have all mine like tone trained to where, like, if they don't come back on the tone, I'm gonna shock them. You know what I mean? Like it's a non-negotiable for me. Like
Yeah.
I don't give them really any leeway on that, and I find the more strict I am with that, the quicker they are. It makes it. Even my 1-year-old pups at this point, man, they're handling so nicely just because I've been really tough on them. You hear that tone, you hear that tone, you 180 sprint to me, and I'm actually we're gonna make a video kind of about that process of kind of how to do that, how to tone train them in that way. So yeah, that's something to look forward to on the channel.
That'll be a good one.
Yeah,
I like that.
I've kind of like dialed in my process for doing it. So I start with treat, food training them. And I basically, so before I got into hunting with them, I was really into just obedience training.
Mm-hmm.
Cause Cooley, I couldn't find enough things for her to do. Like she's such a smart dog. She just needed things to learn.
Right.
So I found that I will teach them place. So like go to a place and sit, like jump on the board,
yeah.
wait there, and then I give them their recall command. I just use their name and then give them a treat. And I find that doing that little procedure, it just makes it so like I can do it in my garage,
Yeah.
I don't need much space to do it. And then, doing that little kind of stuff has been a big game changer for me. So reliable recall.
Yeah, that one that's top of the list for me.
Place training. That's kind of what I just mentioned, but so place training is basically like, the dog is supposed to lay down and stay put. Do your Beagles do that?
No. No, they will, unless they are in a confined on a lead.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to try to get right back out there again.
Okay. So mine will kind of do that too. Like if I'm sitting there watching them, they'll stay in place, but it's not something I really work on anymore. To me, the equivalent of this is like I have tie outs for all my dogs.
Mm-hmm.
So like if I'm camping, I put them on, I stake them out, or like a gang line.
Yep.
Those are so nice to have.
Yep.
So it's funny though, because that's like such a safe way to have your dogs, and keep track of them. But you see, we've covered it before, and I'm sure we'll cover it again, because every year they always have these bills to ban tethering your dogs. Like, I don't know how people can think that's rational at all, to not be able to contain your dogs by just clipping a lead to their collar. It doesn't make any sense. No. So, place training, I can see the benefit of that. Familiarity with distractions and the crate. Do you have your dogs crate trained? No, but they'll ride in a dog box.
Yeah.
They don't freak out.
No.
So that's, to me, that's kind of like crate trained.
And they'll sit in, but in the house.
Yeah.
They have free reign. It's a dog house with me living in it.
That's awesome.
They have the couch, and
yeah,
I'm allowed one chair if I'm lucky.
But some, most pet dog owners, they put their dog in a crate and that thing's gonna freak out. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
So yeah, I think crate training is pretty important, just so that they need to be able to just stay chill, stay calm in the crate.
Now I do have in the house. They're called dog tents.
Oh.
And they're tents.
Really?
But they're only 2.5 feet by 3 feet and 3 feet wide. And it has a little flap in the front that they can kick.
Oh, so they have a little den they can go
and they can
hang
get
out
in there. Bubbles likes to get in hers.
Nice.
So
that's cute.
If they need a timeout, then
you guys are stressing me out. I need a little alone time. I need a little Bubbles time.
Yep, exactly.
That's funny. And then beware of unknown food and water sources. I mean, this is just common sense, but I think they're kind of getting at in a disaster scenario, you don't really know what, it might not be a great idea to just let your dog drink out of a puddle or something. I don't know. I don't know. I want to move on. I thought that was an interesting topic. I didn't know that it was National Pet Preparedness Month. So now we know.
There we go.
And it's good to, I'm glad that whoever brought this to the attention, it's good that they did.
I think so.
Because a lot of people, apartment dwellers.
Yeah.
None of this applies.
Absolutely. You're totally right. Yep.
And if there was some kind of a natural disaster, they would be like, get Pooch under the arm and haul him out to the car or run down the street screaming, whatever you do.
Yep.
And they would not be, do you have extra food?
Exactly. Right.
Do you have a medical kit for your dog?
That's a good point. I ended up, my mom actually got it for me for my birthday. It's like one of those big dog medic kits. It's pretty nice. It's pretty handy. Luckily, I haven't had to use anything out of it other than, what did I have to use?
We use a saline solution a lot for cleaning out
their eyes.
Yeah, I actually got, because they'll get those foxtails in their eye, and they get all kinds of gunk in their eye. Do you ever use Vetericin?
All the time.
Yeah, that's good stuff. I got one of the big bottles of it's in the horse section at the store, but it says it's for they say it's for pink eye, but it's just like an eye wash.
Really?
Yeah, I'll show it to you. It's what I love about it is it has a super fine little stream, so you can just kind of get it right in the corner of their eye and it just flushes it right out. You could probably even do it on yourself if you needed to.
Nice.
It's good stuff. Yeah. So, but yeah, I got a stapler. I got all the wraps. I got one of those. It's a dog harness backpack, so you can pack your dog out if you need to. Yeah.
Nice.
A lot of good stuff. Okay, what is next here? Oh yeah, this is a good one. Mama raccoon and babies made a home in Home Depot. Colorado rescuers needed a forklift. So apparently.
Where's she at?
Oh, let's see.
Is that a crate?
This is a picture.
That's when she's in the crate.
This is after they rescued him.
Oh, they're so cute.
I know, right? Baby raccoons are freaking adorable.
They are.
God, they're so cute. When we lived in Baton Rouge, there's a lot of I think they're called muscadine grapes. They're like a wild grape.
Oh, okay.
And the coons love eating those things. We, in our little apartment in the backyard, all of a sudden we looked out the window and there was a mama and 5 little baby raccoons following her across the fence to go and eat some grapes. It's adorable.
So cute.
They are there.
But anyways, apparently a raccoon family made its home at a Home Depot in the garden department, and it took a forklift to safely relocate them. The babies were tucked away inside some cinder blocks, and mom was hiding under the pallets during the busy shopping day. It'd be quite alarming to go and get a bag of fertilizer and see a raccoon snarling at you. I'm scared of raccoons, man. They're gnarly creatures.
I got dumped over by a raccoon, a mama raccoon,
Really?
out deer hunting.
Oh my God.
It was right next to this little creek, and I thought, well, it's a good spot to sit down.
Yeah.
There's a log there, nice sitting. So I sat down, and I heard the splashing.
Uh-huh.
Okay, somebody's in the creek. So I'm getting ready. It might be a deer coming.
Big old buck.
Yeah, it could be. You don't know. And out stepped this raccoon, so I kind of relaxed. Well, trailing behind her was like 4 little babies.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh. And she just looked at me because I made this sound. And one look at me, she stomped a foot and then just came out. And teeth were bared.
Oh, my God.
I started just tripping backwards and fell over the log and, just trying to crab, get out of there.
They're like a mini bear.
They really are. And once I, got whatever her distance of safety was away from her, she turned around, went back, gathered up the children, and headed on down the creek.
Oh, my God.
But yeah, they can be just wicked.
Yeah, I mean, Home Depot's lucky it didn't bite anybody or attack anybody.
Yeah, because she would protect those babies. With everything.
Definitely. But here's the
oh my gosh.
Here's the picture of them. They had it looks like they had a catch pole, extracting the mother raccoon out of a pallet of cinder blocks. And I just like this dude over here is like, what you smiling about, bro? That raccoon's having a bad day. Quit laughing at her.
No kidding.
All right, moving on.
That's great.
And then another raccoon. This was great. I don't know if you heard about this one. Woman brings illegal wildlife raccoon to a pet shop in Maine for grooming. Rabies safety measures ensue. So this lady...
Can you imagine? She's like, take a little off the top, please.
For grooming. What's she doing with the raccoon in the first place? People are crazy.
Does she know it? Does she know it's a raccoon? Or does she think
think
it's a
so.
cute fox dog?
On Tuesday afternoon, a woman in Auburn, Maine brought a little raccoon into a Petco to have its nails clipped. The Maine Department of Inland Fisheries and Wildlife deemed this to be both illegal and a bad idea.
Okay.
Thank you, Maine Department of Wildlife for Fisheries and Wildlife. The Wildlife Department posted on Facebook that Petco does not clip raccoon nails and it is unlawful to possess wildlife in Maine. I don't know. Did you hear on our first episode? I told the story about trying to help a person on the side of the road who somebody had hit a raccoon with their car and it was still alive, and so this other good Samaritan goes out and tries to help it. Anyways, he ends up taking it home with him, and then texted me a couple days later to help him with it. And I was like, first I was like, dude, you should just put this thing out of its misery. And he wanted to try to keep it alive, or I don't know what ended up happening with it. I just stopped replying to his texts.
I think a lot of people, they're not aware of the harm that they're doing.
Right.
When something like that, they want to save everything.
Yeah.
And bless their little hearts, but sometimes there's a reason why you shouldn't try to save everything.
Right. So the raccoon was handled by a variety of persons while she waited in the shop, some of whom even kissed it, according to the authorities. I just what are these people thinking? You kiss that it's cute. They see a cute little.
How long has she had this thing?
That's a great question. They don't have a picture of it. I'm guessing it was young, right?
Oh, I think it said young on the previous page.
Okay. Oh, let's see. Was it a baby?
A little raccoon.
A little raccoon. But what does that mean?
Huh.
Store manager asked the woman who was holding the raccoon to leave the store after being informed about the animal and then called the main CDC and the main warden service. Hey, at least they did that. I mean, I'm good for them for handling it that way.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I feel like if I went to I avoid Petco at all costs, but if I went to the Petco here in town, I feel like they'd trim those raccoons' nails. They're crazy. We live in a very blue state.
Well, yeah, and I know Petco is pretty blue itself.
Yeah.
So
Well, turns out this raccoon did not have rabies, so that's good. Anyways, I thought that was pretty hilarious.
do you know how they test for rabies? Because when I was in the service,
I don't.
I was stationed back at Walter Reed,
Okay.
and that was where I took my schooling.
Mm-hmm.
And they were the center. Wasn't Randolph Hall. It was out of Fort Detrick, but it was the site where all rabies testing took place.
Okay.
And the animal had to be euthanized because the only way that they could test for rabies was to remove the brain.
Oh, Lord.
Weird.
So I'm wondering, and I haven't looked at
I think saliva is a way to test for rabies because it gets into the saliva.
right, but to see if the animal had rabies, back in the 80s.
Okay.
Oh, you're saying
This is-
before.
This
Before.
is back in ancient times, and I don't know what it is now, but I
Yeah.
know that
Back
if
then.
you got bit by what was possibly a rabid animal and they hadn't caught it yet, then you were put in isolation for 10 days,
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
waiting to see if you start frothing or anything.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, I know that was the big deal because
Huh.
we would get shipments of animals in
Wow.
that we would have to remove their brains so
Oh,
that they could
God.
be tested.
That is crazy.
That is crazy.
I'm assuming it's advanced a little
I hope
since
it
then.
has.
Yeah.
I hope it. I just
Hey,
had.
if it didn't, they definitely didn't include that detail in this story.
Well, this is a warm and fuzzy. They're not going to.
Right. Okay, this is our second to last story. So, new study, having a pet dog may increase your risk of a sleep disorder. I'm like,
True.
These damn dogs keep me up all night.
True.
I have to get up 10 times a night to deal with some animal. I mean, yeah. A new study published in the CABI journal, Human-Animal Interactions indicates that your beloved pet dog or cat could be causing you to have a less peaceful sleep than those who enjoy long, undisturbed rest.
But is it because it's disturbing you or for some other reason?
I'm assuming it's because it's disturbing you. I don't know. Let's
Because it doesn't say
keep
having
reading.
a pet in your bed while you're sleeping.
I actually saw a study that was specifically about having your
Really?
dog in the bed.
I have 6.
I know.
But you know what I figured out? I have a queen size bed.
Okay.
I'm only 5 foot.
Not
I
only,
sleep-
you're a solid 5 foot, Missy.
That's right. But I discovered last night I can turn sideways in the bed, and I have like a king and a half.
Hell yeah.
There's so
That's
much more
awesome.
room.
Nice.
So I'm going to start remaking the bed different.
There you go.
you
You just
go.
got it's a wide, short bed. I love it.
Yeah.
That works. That's great. Oh, we were joking about it. I was like, I bet I just love to see where Angus chooses to sleep.
Right here.
Right next to,
Oh
yeah.
my God.
Surrounded by all the ladies.
That's his spot. That is definitely his spot.
That is awesome. The cross-sectional study aimed to determine if there was an association between dog and cat ownership and sleep quality and sleep disorders, including consideration of aspects such as snoring, waking up during the night, needing pills to sleep,
Oh my God.
and leg jerks. These damn dogs, give me my pills. Yeah, the dog won't stop barking. Give me my Ambien. The research built multivariable logistic regression models that also included sleep quality factors such as feeling unrested, feeling sleepy, not getting enough sleep, taking longer than 15 minutes to fall asleep, and getting less than 6 hours of sleep on average. Okay, man, I got like every sleep disorder you can imagine then. I don't know the last time I've ever slept. It was probably when I was like, not here.
I think a lot of folks, though, I know just about everybody I do know that has a dog in the house, the dog is not allowed in the bedroom. But where's the dog want to be? With the pack. You're the pack.
Right.
Yeah.
And so they will, and cats will do the same thing. Scratch, meow, bark.
I will say, my sleep disorders are definitely more from our cat, our little 8-pound cat,
They're
than
nocturnal.
our dog, than our however many dogs we have. We let Finn and Plum hang out in the bed with us. I mean, they're sweet.
Why
I love
not?
being surrounded by animals all the time, and they're so chill. They like to hang out and cuddle. Why not?
Yep.
So.
They don't usually sleep in the bed though. They usually
No.
go find.
Yeah, no, I
They'll
kick them
get-
out.
yeah.
They don't fully sleep. I just wouldn't have enough room.
Yeah.
And we have a king size, but we're tall and lanky, so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
upgrading to a king was important.
Crucial.
We were sleeping when we first got together. Like, we first got married. We had a full size bed.
We were like.
And that was
Right
that
next
was
to
close
each
quarters, man.
Yeah. That
All
would
right.
be. That would be.
Last story. This is some good news. So I don't know if it's not fully in law yet, but commissioners approve a 2024 mountain lion season in Nebraska. So I guess they haven't had a mountain lion season, and they still don't, but they are many steps in the right direction. So the Nebraska Game and Parks Commission approved staff recommendations for a 2024 mountain lion hunting season at its June 9th meeting in Alma. For the first time, a mountain lion harvest season will take place outside the Pine Ridge as the Niobrara unit is created. Oh, they're creating a new unit encompassing parts of Brown, Cherry, Cayapaha, Rock, and Sheridan counties. The objective for the Niobrara unit is to provide a harvest opportunity for mountain lions that allows the population to remain resilient and healthy while slowing growth of the population. Mountain lions in Nebraska are part of the larger western population that includes Colorado, South Dakota, and Wyoming, and are not isolated. So I guess that means they can travel between all those areas. Mountain lion presence has been documented in the Niobrara River Valley of north central Nebraska since 2001. There's been a resident reproducing population there since 2013, and information gathered through research suggests a population that is growing and will be resilient to harvest. So that's good news.
So I wonder, are they allowed to use hounds with them?
No, not yet. No. They didn't say anything about that at this point. I would imagine not, which is dumb, but
Yeah.
How do you hunt mountain lions without hounds?
So they do it here. Like
It's
here,
not-
people will use predator calls,
Oh, call them in.
or like if you find a dead animal somehow. This is like what they recommend in the
Really?
ODFW. They're like, yeah, you can harvest it over a carcass. You can't like kill a deer and then hunt a mountain lion over that. But if you find a dead deer, like set up on it, because I bet a mountain lion's coming around. But I know there's people who they'll go cut tracks in the snow and then walk down the track, and then set up an electronic predator call, and then try to
Draw 'em in that
draw
way.
them in, and then shoot them.
I just thought it was always interesting that, the people voted no bear, no cougar hound hunting in this state. And yet the only way ODF and W can try to, because they went through a great big thing here quite a few years ago, in decreasing the population
Okay.
of the cougar.
Yeah.
The only way that they could even begin to do that was they hired houndsmen.
Of course.
They had all the people in this state that they could have hired,
Yeah.
but instead they hired and trained ODF and W personnel to work with hounds and go out and run them.
It's a bit nutty.
Just a touch.
Yeah, I don't get their logic. They're trying to
What a waste
satisfy
of money.
They're trying to satisfy the public opinion, but they're dishonest about it because they're still using hounds
They were using hounds
and costing the taxpayers more.
Now taxpayers are paying for it instead of the houndsmen paying towards.
exactly.
For the
The
opportunity.
houndsmen would have been paying
We'll
for
gladly pay
Right.
for it.
Yeah.
And paying for the conservation, but now the taxpayers are
Well,
paying
and they
for
would
it.
have even been happy if ODF and W would have offered it to them, saying,
Right.
under our direction in this area,
Yeah.
if you will hunt for us,
Mhm.
they would have been tickled with that.
Oh, of course.
But
yeah.
no.
I know that you can still, so it's, I mean, there are people who are, hunting for the state still. What cracks me up is that's like in California, it's been outlawed there for a long time.
Yeah.
They still use hounds there too. And don't quote me on the stats, but I'm pretty sure like the exact same number of lions are getting killed every year, but just by the government. So
Yeah, and the populations just keep getting bigger and bigger.
yeah, exactly. Yep.
I mean,
and
there were
they're
2
encroaching.
incidences last week.
Oh gosh, I forgot to clip that news story again about the biker getting chased or whatever up in Welch's.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, even if we could just pursue them, just keeping that pressure on them, keep them out in the wilderness areas versus them creeping into the frickin', the urban interface or
Exactly.
whatever, the urban sprawl. Yeah, like last week we talked about they're seeing bears in Forest Park outside of Portland.
Oh, they've got to be scared up there.
Yeah. So, anyways, good for you, Nebraska. Hopefully it goes well. Well, hopefully their season gets approved. They're up. It looks like let's see. Season 1 in Niobrara and Pine Ridge will take place January 2 through end of February. Season will end immediately in a unit if the annual harvest limit or female sublimit are reached. The Pine Ridge limit will be 4 mountain lions with a sub limit of 2 females. Okay.
Per hunter?
They better be using hounds then. How are you gonna field judge a lion coming into your call if it's not a tree? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll have to inquire further. Hopefully they'll let them use hounds. If they're gonna put these strict quotas, what happens if everyone, everybody goes out on opening day and blasts a lion and they show up at these check stands, everyone's got a female, what do they do then? You know what I mean? Yeah, crazy. Up to 320 permits will be issued by lottery in the Pine Ridge unit. Up to 160 will be in the Niobrara unit. An auxiliary season would be held March 16th through the end of March if the annual harvest limit or sub-female limit are not reached during season 1 in a unit. Interesting.
Those are really tight restrictions.
I would say so. Yeah, especially if they're not hunting them with hounds. Because that's really how
You're talking about IDing ability?
Yeah. Yeah, because you could a big tom lion. It's gonna have a big head on it. It's like, okay, you can tell. But most of them are not that big.
Mm-hmm.
Like, 100 pounds is like a pretty fair sized lion. So 100-pound male versus 100-pound female, I can't imagine being able to tell the difference.
It would be hard to tell the difference.
I mean, you're not gonna like, oh, let's wait till we see his nuts.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, I don't even know if you can see a lion's nuts.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Huh.
Anyways, all right. So that was the news. Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah. So keeping our finger on the pulse. So now, my favorite part of the show, we're going to react to some videos that I found on Instagram.
No, God! No, God!
Let me prepare myself.
Are you on Instagram?
No.
Are you on any social media?
Just Facebook.
Facebook. Yeah.
Do a lot of YouTube.
Yeah. YouTube is
YouTube is usually where I go.
It's probably the most used app on my phone at this point.
I love YouTube.
Okay, where are we? Okay, so ready. Okay, let me preface this a little bit. This is not directly hunting or animal related, but you know how when you're out hunting in the woods and sometimes like maybe your truck doesn't start and you need a buddy to come and jumpstart you?
Yeah.
Well, what happens if you don't have jumper cables?
You don't get your car started?
This video will show us what to do if you do not have jumper cables, okay?
Don't you push it down a hill or pop the clutch?
Hey, we got it. Try it again.
No. Are you kidding me?
No. Oh, no way.
No freaking way.
Okay, so for the listeners, we got a long-haired fella with no shirt on, wearing slides. He has his thumb.
No way!
on the battery of the running vehicle. He's holding the hand of his buddy. And then that buddy is holding his thumb on the, I'm assuming, positive terminal of the dead car. I don't know if this is real or if it's a staged video. If they're kind of pretending that this is happening.
Wait, but does the car turn on?
No.
Yeah, the car starts. Oh yeah, you can't hear the audio.
Yeah.
So apparently, like, I don't know how.
Try it again.
Like, I don't know if this is a real video, but I thought it was pretty funny.
I feel like there needs to be a PSA for kids who are watching this.
Oh my God.
Those you would think that would hurt really bad. Have you ever accidentally shocked yourself from your car?
Yep.
It hurts.
Yep.
So what do you think? Do you think this is real, or do you think they staged it? Like it's fake?
Would electricity travel in that way?
Yeah,
So-
it would. Because like I did this to my brother one time. We held hand. I held his hand and then touched an electric fence, and it shocked him too.
Okay, then it works.
Yeah, it will travel.
Yeah, it travels
will
through
travel.
you.
But that guy with his fingers on the actual battery and just smiling, something ain't right there.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe they're on like drugs or something.
But I wonder, does he, I mean, and even if, because whatever he's got on his feet,
You'd think he'd need to be grounded, right?
yeah, unless
Somebody
he's-
needs to be grounded to the chassis.
Well, the other, I don't know.
What the
I-
heck is happening?
Kids today, I wouldn't put it past them
I know.
to think
All
that
right,
this
so
is,
everyone, leave a comment below if you think this video is real. Is it true? Can you actually jumpstart a car via human instead of jumper cables? Human jumper cables. I think I'm leaning towards I don't think it's real. I think they just are making a funny video. But I don't know. It's hard to say
They
because
probably really got shocked. I don't know if it really produced.
like maybe if you're grounded, is it not going to hurt? I feel like it's going to hurt no matter what.
It seems like it would just,
Knock you out, right? All right, moving on. Okay, this one is right up your alley. Let's see if you've ever seen anything like this before.
Ooh,
oh, the snake in the rabbit.
be careful. Yeah, it's a big one.
What is this rabbit doing?
Yeah, seriously, what is this rabbit doing?
Apparently.
He's trying to kick it with his hind feet.
It has a
But
sort of-
It literally has bit of fur.
Oh, is it
I
trying to
would-
get it away
Wow.
from its babies?
oh,
I was gonna. That's what I
you
was
think
gonna
that's
say.
What it is?
Yeah, I think
That it's a
mama.
female and she's got a nest somewhere.
Huh?
Be careful.
I guess okay, that
Yeah.
makes more sense.
What
I
is
just
this
was
rabbit
like,
doing?
what is it even doing? Because
It's
okay, for
chasing it
for the audio only listeners, basically what's happening is, there is a snake, and there's a rabbit, and the snake is trying to bite the rabbit, and the rabbit is juking him and just not getting bit. It's pretty impressive, actually.
I wish we could watch it in slow mo.
And that rabbit is pretty fearless. I mean, that rabbit's like, hey, screw you, snake, get out of here. Leave my babies alone, snake. Yeah, pretty interesting. This is one of those that's from the Instagram channel called Nature is Metal. Like metal.
So it didn't get bit.
It didn't. Well, the lady said, oh, you didn't hear because you don't have headphones on. Whoever's filming it, she's like, oh, the snake has fur in its mouth. So it got him a little bit.
Yeah,
I don't know
But
what
did
kind
it
of
get its
snake that is,
fangs
though. It
in?
doesn't look like a rattlesnake.
that's what I was trying to tell us. What kind of?
You ever have any snake problems? You ever run into a mean rattlesnake?
Oh, when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Oh, over in the Bend area.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
They're so surprised that there are rattlers over there now
Really?
because 95% of the population moved up here from inner California
Oh.
and live there. So it's, yeah, they're shocked. One was seen by Prineville Reservoir. And they had a big news
Weird.
blog about
I mean,
it.
I've seen them out there.
And I'm like,
funny.
you grew up with parents saying, watch where you step. There's rattlers out here.
Of course. I actually saw,
Look under the
I
brush.
don't know, a Cascade rattlesnake? I saw one outside of Sweet Home.
Timber rattler.
Timber rattler? It wasn't very big, but it was outside
Well,
of in the Cascade foothills, basically outside of Sweet Home. I was deer hunting out there, and I was sitting. I was like, I found a nice shady spot to take a break, sat down, and I look over to my right, and there's a rattlesnake coiled up. It's only about that big, that big, coiled up. But yeah, I left him alone.
Yeah.
Good choice.
Okay, on to the next one. No
Is that rattlesnake? I can't tell.
I don't know. I don't hear a rattle, but
Oh yeah, it's not shaking. It's.
I don't think it's a rattlesnake. I don't know what kind it is. It looks like in a desertous kind of arid climate. So who
Could
knows?
be like just a bull snake or.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. I mean, probably isn't. Well, we don't know what happened to the rabbit, but if he got even bit a
Well, the
little
rabbit
bit, you'd think he'd die.
follows it out.
Yeah.
The snake goes
Yeah.
and then he follows.
Yeah, he falls him out.
Like, don't come back.
Get out of my turf, you dumb snake. All right, moving on. That would be frightening. Okay, for the audio listeners, this is a... Wait, why isn't it playing again? It's a big-ass brown bear. And I'm assuming this is in, like, Russia or Siberia or somewhere over there. Big old brown bear in, like, this little village. And there's some village people, and this bear's chasing them. And I would be terrified.
The only guy that was smart was the one that headed left.
Yeah, right?
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Can we watch it one more time?
Yeah, one sec. I don't have it on autoplay. Yeah, these two guys went
Guys
left.
head left.
Damn.
That
Look
one
at
guy
that
wasn't
bear
getting
hole.
down quick enough.
No.
I wonder what ended up happening to those people. Also, here's something. In my mind, I'm like, oh, I would probably think the bear can't get up. But that bear just makes light work of like, I'm just going to jump on top of this thing. Like, it's nothing. It's on the roof in a few seconds.
Yeah, that's an agile bear, isn't it?
That's crazy. Because I'd be like, oh yeah, I can't climb that wall. Nope. I definitely can.
Yeah. How come, if there's bears like that where I live, I'm not going anywhere without a large caliber pistol.
I bet they all carry one now.
Yeah, you would hope so. I mean, that one guy had a big stick. That's not going to do much.
Oh my god.
One of the other guys had a rope.
Were they trying to get the bear out of there, you think?
Oh, I think they're just trying to survive at that point. I can't really tell. Like, what kind of cars? I don't know. I'm assuming it's like Russia or Mongol. I don't know. I don't know if they have black bears or brown bears in Mongolia, but Kazakhstan maybe. I know there's a lot of brown bears over in that part of the world.
Wow.
Anyways, that's pretty much that's all the videos I got for us today. So yeah, I think we're gonna wrap it up. We're at 1 hour and 34 minutes. Switch this screen up a little bit. There we go. So thanks, Missy. Thanks for coming over. Thanks for being on the podcast.
Well, thanks
And
for inviting me.
yeah, it was super fun. Absolutely.
fun.
Yeah, great conversation. Really fun learning about your history. And yeah, thanks for taking us beagle hunting.
Got to get you up in the hills. So.
Yeah, I would love to.
Really gotta do it.
So we'll probably wait till next. You got to wait till next winter at this point, or you
fall.
think you could still go?
This fall,
It's the fall. Yeah.
you know.
Well, because now we got fire danger warnings and everything.
So yeah, things will start, and
yeah.
you know, fall will just be better.
Cool.
Early fall.
Okay. Nice. Awesome.
So
All right. Well, we're gonna wrap this up, and yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll catch you next time.